Welcome to BitBoy Crypto.
We can't let anybody else find out who we are. My eyes are up here. I personally would not advise that strategy. Yeah. Bugs Bunny or Tweety Bird, how to make money in crypto.
Oh, you're killing me.
Welcome to BitBoy Crypto.
The People's Channel, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. No channel works harder to keep you in the know about crypto. My name is Ben. Coming to you live every single day, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is Wednesday, May 25th. Some people call this day Hump Day. Now, I'm not against saying Hump Day. I am against saying Friday. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp. Not a big Friday, but who doesn't like Hump Day?
They carried it too far with the Camel commercials, though. I don't remember what it was for. Maybe Progressive or Geico or something.
Probably Geico.
Yeah,
they never stop.
They love camel parts.
They used to
Pumps
do 4 new pieces of created every single quarter.
Really?
Yeah, which is unheard of for a brand.
The hardest working insurance company in advertising. Guys, we're going to be talking about recession today. We're going to be looking at, are we on the cusp of the Third World War? Now, remember yesterday, or maybe it was a couple days ago, when I talked about how 2 of the biggest ways that billionaires make money, these rich families, how they make money around the world, 2 of those 5 ways are through humanitarian work and through wars. So here we got, George Soros, we'll talk about in a little bit in this article, talking about, maybe we're going to get a Third World War. And he fits right into that category with people who, make money. He made most of his money shorting the pound to almost zero, I believe. Hurt a lot of people, but he made a lot of money. Now, to be fair, they give a lot of grant money out to different people, and some people would tell you it's all bad stuff. Some of it's probably good stuff. Maybe some of it's bad stuff. I don't know. But, that's beside the point. The point is the way that it happened was really crazy. Are we going to see something similar? Well, right now we've got elites getting ready to do something massive, another pandemic crash, or who knows what it could be, a black swan event. Are they preparing for that? So we're going to take a look. But I want to start today. Actually, let me give the preempt to the preempt. First, I would like to say our hearts and prayers go out to the parents, especially of the kids in that elementary school in Texas. I would not usually bring up a mass event like this, but there's some of these that occur. They just hit you on a different level. In elementary school, 18 kids murdered. I believe it's 18. Maybe it was 14 and 4 adults. I'm not 100% sure. By an 18-year-old with a gun. It is extremely sad. This is one of those. The Las Vegas shooting was one of those as well, and obviously Sandy Hook as well. They just hit you on a different level. The last day of kindergarten, or the last day of school for those kids, and I am at my youngest son's kindergarten graduation last night when I'm going through Twitter, and I first saw this. And there I am with a bunch of kindergartners that are graduating, parents having the time of their life, and you got all these people that have their lives have essentially, not necessarily been ruined, but forever marred and changed by what happened. So, we are Second Amendment people here. So we believe that, a lot of this is responsibility. And a lot of this is just, there's evil out there, guys. There's evil out there. So don't want to turn this into any kind of issue. The main point here is to say hearts and prayers, go out to those families. It makes me very sad as a parent, think about losing my child that way. So, the other thing is, I want to start the show by going over my tweet yesterday. I got to say, in the history of my Twitter, I think this is my best tweet. Am I getting pushback there from you or no?
No.
Can you even think of another tweet that'll come to mind?
I mean, the main one. I mean, I really like the one we showed the other day, behind the curtain. That's a good one.
That was.
I'm sure there have been, but no, they don't come to mind.
Yeah, this is a good one. So basically, let me show you what happened here. Okay, what happened is I'm going to call out one of these maxis, and it's one that we kind of like. I'm not best friends with Peter or anything like that, but I do feel bad for him what's going on with that Craig Wright case. But I do like Peter, and he's not nearly as toxic as a lot of the other maximalists. But he does sometimes just go along with the talking points. And so I'm going to call him out a little bit here, all in good fun. This is what happens when a Ponzi runs out of new buyers, from Peter McCormick here. And I do want to be clear here that I'm not advocating for Hex in any way here. I'm not detracting from it. I'm just simply pointing out the hypocrisy of the Bitcoin maximalist. Okay. What happens when a Ponzi runs out of new buyers? And look at the Hex chart here. Oh my gosh. Look at this gigantic drawdown. Holy smokes. It's down, 2% for the day, but man, it's down like 85%. So I saw that and I had this idea. So I ran to CoinMarketCap real quick and I pulled this chart. And this is the Bitcoin chart for the last 6 months. And you can see
that's the year, it looks like.
Well, I inched it in.
Okay.
It's basically from the top to where we're at now. And I scratched out Bitcoin to USD chart very clearly there and just wrote Hex chart. And then the tweet says, everyone knew this was a Ponzi. This is what happens when you run out of people to feed the kitty. The bubble pops. Poor daddy Richard Hart Wynn is going to be staying at La Quinta this summer.
That was the La Quinta line was the best.
That
part.
was good.
And Richard vehemently defending Hex. You had all the Hex people defending Hex, and all the maximalists saying like, yeah, any chart like that, clearly a Ponzi. Yeah, it was.
So where are Richard Hart's responses to this? Did he?
They're in there.
I hear you would have thought they would have been at the top.
Yeah.
Basically, at first, he didn't see it.
Yeah.
He didn't catch it. And
it took
so,
about 3 tweets, and then he finally goes like, "Oh, I see."
What? It says I have Richard Hart muted. I don't have Richard Hart muted. I saw these last night. That's weird. That's really weird. I don't know why that showed up as muted. I do not have Richard Hart muted. I see his tweets. But basically, he said, check out the last 85% dip, saying that it rebounded. See, and here it is. Hey, we're still up 72% for this year. And then he said, oh, I finally get the joke. I think part of the genius of this tweet was to my own horror here, was knowing that there was a chance that if I come at Richard Hart, he was not going to expect it and it was going to throw him off and he wouldn't actually notice it. And then to see him defended it first and then come around, I had a really good time with it. I thought it worked out, played out so perfectly. But I mean, look at the chart. It's not that much different than the Bitcoin chart. It goes down 85% every 4 years, and it may do it again this year. To look at a chart and show price action, and then to compare the price chart to a Ponzi scheme makes no sense. It makes no sense. In that case, Amazon was a Ponzi scheme in the beginning. In that case, Home Depot, way up at some point and came back down. A Ponzi scheme. You can't judge a Ponzi off of the price action. Now, if it goes to zero, that's when you can show a chart. If it goes to zero and stays there, that's when that is kind of reflective of a rug pull or a Ponzi scheme. But it looks just like the Bitcoin chart. So, the hypocrisy from the maximalist is really, really insane. And I like Peter. He wasn't the only one I saw talking about this yesterday. Someone else was doing it as well. So, I had a lot of fun with it. Hope Hex community enjoyed it. So, all right. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, somebody was asking about your shirt. I was just going to say if you
hitmerch.com.
Yeah. I'll drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, drop a link and here it is on the page. You'll pull it up. Also, guys, we are still looking for graphic designers, meme makers, writers, and we're also possibly looking for someone who's an expert with newsletters. So if you have that skill as well, or any of those skills, like to work at BitBoy Crypto, some of these are remote jobs. Make sure to send in jobs at bitboycrypto.com. That's the email address where you can send in a resume. We've had a lot so far. So, person said Second Amendment was created in 1791. It's 2022. Let's fix this. freedom of speech was actually created then too, like way they wanted it originally. So you're not going to ever hear me say anything bad about the Second Amendment. There are many, many fallacies to, the other side of that argument. Let's put a sign up that says no guns here. Like that's the kind of things they want to do. It makes no sense. Somebody's not going to pay attention to that. So we're in one of these situations in the United States where we already have all the guns. They're already out there. But ask Australians if they're glad they handed their guns over to their government. Okay. All right. And all we do is talk about how the government's evil on this channel. That's all we do. That's all we do. You don't need to defend yourself from tyranny, from, your own government. That's all we talk about on this channel is protecting yourself from the government and what, a lot of these people want to do. Great reset. That's what this is all about, guys. People think we're much further along in the world than we are. So
yeah. I was thinking about it in that context last night of, are you for government rights or individual rights? Absolutely. Should it be the government's right to take what they want from you, or should you have the right to choose as an individual?
But that's the last I'm going to say about it, because I think it's insensitive to turn that into a talking point today. I don't want to go that route. Yeah. This isn't about my position on Second Amendment, really. I know I said I support it, but that's not what this is about. It's about the kids that lost lives, and it's about the families that lost loved ones. And so let's just be sensitive about that today. So I probably said too much even out of respect to the families. All right, market cap $1.254 billion, 75 or trillion dollars, excuse me, 75 billion in volume. Volume has been staying put. Bitcoin dominance up 0.2% to 44.7. ETH dominance staying exactly the same. Look at that gas.
Look, I was thinking the same thing.
7.5 Paraguays.
Time to make some swaps.
Yeah. Ugh.
Hey, Frankie Candles with the super chat.
You shout out to Ben and TJ and everybody at BitBoy Crypto, especially Frankie Candles for the hard work. I'll be visiting again soon. Oh, this is Tony Bagels.
Tony D. Bagels
Tony
in
Bagels.
hand. Love it.
Okay, so Bitcoin coming in 29.4. It's actually up 0.75%. I was expecting it to be a red day today, right? Because it dropped pretty considerably.
And that's actually, you've refreshed, it's up a little more. It's actually 29.6.
Ooh, 29.6, guys. Get out your moon bags. It's time to cash in them profits, boys. Up 1.9%. Wow, look at that. 1.39%. Changes dynamically. Ethereum 1962, about exactly where we left it at yesterday. Binance coin at 326. XRP at 40 cents. Thank you for that super chat, JB. Appreciate you as well. Cardano at 51 cents. Look, this is the part of the bear market that sucks.
Yeah.
Market watch. There's just not anything really that interesting.
And yeah, you check in, and it's like, well, right where it was yesterday.
Absolutely. Let's see. Cello up. This is the news. Terra's got its peg back to 9 cents. So not spending a lot of time here looking at the numbers today because they're not great. Let's bring on, well, let me actually check out the two stories here, and then we'll bring on Frankie. Bitcoin finally due for $32.8 thousand is long-term BTC price metric flashes overvalued. An uptick to 2 weeks highs is on the cards, but longer time frame still in trouble. That's what we've been telling you. We expect a rally followed by a drop to test new lows potentially. Bitcoin briefly returned to 30K before the May 25th Wall Street open as range adherence lingered. Fellow trader Nebraskan Gooner, meanwhile, eyed a series of higher lows on the 4-hour chart, highlighting $30,400 as the line to beat. And if we were to look at the chart here, I guess that's what you have pulled up right here. That's probably that same triangle. Is this this is the 1-day chart. Close enough. Close enough. So we tested below it, came back above it. So there you go. Let's see, anything else here? We also have this 3 factors that will favor Bitcoin over crude oil, or Bitcoin versus crude oil this decade. Chief commodity strategist Mike McGlone, people love Mike McGlone, another one of those people that nobody knew who he was until you got into crypto, has taken to Twitter to share his view on the trajectory of crude oil prices versus Bitcoin. He stated the trajectory on the chart has been unfavorable for crude oil and favorable for the flagship cryptocurrency. Can we Okay, here's what I want to do, TJ. I want to put a jar up here, and every time we read that line, flagship cryptocurrency, we drop a quarter in. We'd have to get all the quarters first.
Yeah, I don't do
We'd be
change.
rich.
Well, but it'd be our quarters.
Mike McGlone, can you send us in $100 worth of quarters for the next month? Bitcoin adoption is widely expanded recently. And I tell you, a thing I'm still seeing more and more of, and it's one of these things where, like, guys, I just would not pay any attention to people that say this. And I'm not saying that they're not smart people. What I'm telling you is, anytime you hear anyone say, but going forward, it's always done the same thing up until now. But going forward, we're definitely going to see something different because of adoption. Throw it out immediately. Throw it out immediately. That phrase in crypto today has zero credibility. I can find you article after article after article, video after video I did with those same exact quotes 4 years ago. Okay. So same thing played out. We always saw, and I expect it again until the cycle breaks. And I do not believe people truly grasp the compound effects of the halving, the way it works with minor profits, and the direct result being the catalyst for the Bitcoin price. People still don't grasp how large of a factor cutting the production of Bitcoin in half every 4 years has on the price. It is going to be a long time before we see no effect at all from a halving. It's going to be many cycles. That doesn't mean we're going to get the exact same kind of boom or bust. I think, 8 years down the road, probably the best opportunity to make a ton of money in crypto is gone by then. But we're still going to see price action go up because you're cutting the production in half. Like, it's literally insane. And there's only 2 million Bitcoin left to be mined. Frankie, come on up. Let's talk charts.
Let's go. Real quick, guys, if you're a big fan of Frankie Candles, smash the likes.
I am. I love him.
We got about 5,400 people here right now, only 800 likes.
Smash the likes, everybody.
I told my kids in the car last night, we were driving home from my kid's graduation, and I said, you guys know the number one thing you can do to help your dad, just out of the blue? And they said, what, Dad? I said, smash the like. And man said, and don't forget to hit subscribe. They were pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Blake, for his graduation, he put on a chalkboard what he wanted to be when he grew up. All the kids, like veterinarian, doctor, policeman. Somebody said cowboy. Nice pick. My son said baseball player, book writer, and YouTuber.
High achiever.
All three.
All three. There you go.
All right, Frank. Your show.
What's going on, everybody? We got a lot of good stuff. We got a lot of good stuff to look at today. I was talking to TJ earlier this morning, and it seems that Bitcoin has, for the last 15 days, we've basically just kind of been going sideways, maybe like 10, about 13, 12 days, something like that. We've basically just been going sideways, respecting this sideways range pretty well, which is pretty good if you're long in the bottoms, and shorting the resistance could make for some really good trading. I am in a trade. I wasn't expecting to come up here today. So I don't have my trade up, but I am in an Ethereum short right now, up about 40%. And then looking to enter another Bitcoin short. Now, we're going to jump into the charts here in just a second. I have to say, typically I give the bull case, the bear case, and then I let you guys know what way I'm leaning. That's usually what I do when I come up here, or even on my channel. It's really hard for me to say which way I lean right now, and I'm going to show you guys why. We have a lot of bearish signs popping up, such as blood diamonds on the higher hourly time frames. A lot of them are popping up everywhere, and we'll take a look in just a second. But it does feel, I said this on the 9 p.m. video, it feels like the pump is in the room. It's got to be around the corner, in my opinion. We are sitting on top of very strong macro support. We've already have about, I think, 9 weekly red candles. This relief bounce has got to come in at some point. But let's jump into the charts, and I'll kind of show you guys the 2 scenarios that I think could play out. So we're going to go ahead and start here on the daily for Bitcoin. Now, let me just zoom out here a little bit just so you guys can have an idea. So obviously, I mean, we have come down a lot here. And now we're just stalled out here. Like I said, we're sitting in a sideways range. Some people are drawing it as a bear pennant. Another reason it's kind of making me feel a little more bearish, but we are sitting on top of this macro golden pocket, and we're holding it pretty well. Now let's just zoom in a little bit so we can get a better look at the range we're sitting in here. So here you go. Depending on how you draw it, you could kind of draw it as a, you know, a little, you know, somewhat of a bear flag or a bearish rectangle, I guess. Or you could draw it as a bear pennant. Either way, these typically break to the downside. Also, if we go ahead and turn on Market Cipher A here, we were printing, let's check on it. Yeah, we were printing another blood diamond on the 4-hour this morning, but it did go away. So the mixed signals are out. You know, and then if we come to the higher time frames, I know I've showed this 12-hour confirmed blood diamond. These typically play out more than this. So I do think this could come back out to play. 10-hour, 4 blood diamonds in a row.
Jeez.
I mean, this is making me feel really bearish, and this is all happening while we are in a bearish continuation pattern. But the fact that we are respecting this support is giving me mixed signals. That 4-hour blood diamond disappeared. You know, I was feeling really good about taking shorts as that 4-hour blood diamond was printing, but this is why you don't want to front run.
Did Bitcoin ever close below 27.5?
Yes.
What was the
In the
close?
mic.
What was the lowest?
The lowest close was about 25.3.
That was no, that's the
Oh
wick.
no, the close.
Yeah.
Let's see, 27, about 27.4 was the lowest close.
That's funny because you know that's the exact number that we were going to give for what we thought the low of the bear market had a good
Right.
chance of being, based on history. And then what happened is we got the dramatic dump, and now the 2 weeks in between when we wrote the original video and we did it, things dramatically changed. And then we had to start looking at, okay, now we have to come up with what makes sense at this point, now that we are on track for the 85% drawdown, because we were 22% above it at that point. And it's just so funny that that was the close.
The exact number.
Because I'm with you, Frank. Like, I agree that there definitely is something to, there is a chance that we bottomed.
Yeah.
There is a chance that things don't look good. I keep saying about 20% in my opinion, but there is a chance. And that's why people that are telling you, no matter what, don't scale in, don't buy anything. You know, I'm not saying they're wrong. Benjamin Cowan is saying Bitcoin only right now, or, you know, don't buy altcoins. And we had a great conversation about it, and I understand all his points. But I do think that scaling in major alts at this point, or Bitcoin, there is some upside there. Just not all, a small percentage of your money on the sidelines.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's actually a perfect lead into what I want to show next. And that's the 200-day moving average. And also, just to your point, Ben, it's like when we're down here, right? In the 2018 bear market, you know, a lot of people probably thought this was the bottom and they bought in, and then we dumped another 50%. But when you come up in the next bull run, what is the difference between getting in here or getting in there?
I keep drawing a line around that U shape.
Yeah.
That entire U shape right there, where it went below 6 and then back to 6 in a 3-month period of time. All of those are great entries.
Absolutely. And that's why dollar cost averaging is such an effective strategy. So I definitely recommend that as well. But if we go ahead and pull up this 200-day moving average, now you can see if we go to 2017, you know, I always tell people to start DCAing back into the market when we're in a bear market like this, if you back test this, historically, when Market Cipher B is in the red on the weekly time frame, that has historically been, I mean, you get the crossover into the red right here, and you would have started buying here, and you would have bought all of this down here. Would have been a great strategy to DCA back into the market. And, you know, I always try to give an alternative if people, you know, I know not everybody can afford Market Cipher. So if you pull up the 200-day moving average, it's basically the same thing. I mean, you cross into the red with the money flow there, and then you get that 50% drop, and we bottom out to this 200-day moving average. And if we come, and this also happened in 2013, 2014 as well. Now,
We've always hit the 200-day moving average.
Yeah, we've always come down to hit the 200-day moving average. Now, or I'm sorry, this is the 200-week moving average. But if we come down to the current price action here, now this is, you know, I've said, Ben has said, and I still stand that there could be a potential possibility that we've already bottomed out. Now, the one thing that would go against that is this would be the first time we never came down to fully test this 200-day moving average. And I don't know why this mouse is so big, but
I made it big so they can see it on the screen.
oh, perfect. Okay,
I did it intentionally.
gotcha. I didn't even know you could do that.
No, you can always make it bigger, Frank.
That's right. That's right. You just need.
Some
Never
people.
mind. Anyway, so the question is, have we bottomed out here? Or, like I said, it does feel like the pump is in the room with us. Are we going to bounce off of this macro support and 25.3 was the, that wick down to 25.3 was that panic bottom? Or are we going to see something where we get a relief bounce? Actually, let me pull up a different chart here. Are we going to finally get some decent relief, get a couple green weekly candles and, come up for this nice pump? I do think we could possibly make it all the way up to this resistance line here at about 36.5 about. We also do have, I believe, a 0.5 Fibonacci level right above that, closer to 37. So I do think maybe this also does kind of match up with this trend line, this macro downward trending line that we have on Bitcoin. If you draw it to the bodies,
I just had a genius idea.
Hit me.
I had a genius idea. Maybe you can do this, and let's take a look at, not right now, but when we're off air here, project you can work on is, I believe you can pull up the stock to flow chart on TradingView. And I would be very interested to overlay the 200-day moving average on the stock to flow chart and measure the percentage that Bitcoin failed to get expectations, right? We thought it was going to a certain number. Like, what was the projected number? Minimum 130K, according to Plan B. What is that percentage down between the stock to flow line and the actual price of the top, and then where we're at now in the 200-day moving average? Because we think of volatility, we think of rubber bands, you stretch them. The harder you stretch them, the faster they snap, like slingshot, right? Well, the fact we didn't get the blow off top that we all expected, that definitely weighs into this conversation here and does make part of the argument for, there is a chance that there was a bottom, or I still think we're seeing sideways action no matter what for a long time. And ultimately, I do believe we see new lows. But that argument is supported by that extreme diminishing returns. Yeah. Barely a 3x.
Yeah.
18x for the cycle before. 18x. Yeah.
That would be interesting. I'll definitely try to pull that stuff up and overlay it. But, with this, if we do get this pump, maybe up to this resistance line, also kind of
200 week moving average.
200 week. I keep saying 200 day. But yeah, if we make it up to this resistance line, it also has a little bit of confluence with this downward trend line, which I do think we could make it up to. This is where everybody's screaming, the bull market's back on. This time is different. I told you. And then, I think if we don't wind up coming down and making a lower low here before coming up, I do think maybe we get that pump up. Everyone's screaming the bull run's back on. And then this is where you come down, break these lows, and maybe come down and tap on this 200-week moving average, in which case, in my mind, that is probably the absolute best time to buy if we come down to that 200-week
What number
average.
is that right there where your cursor is?
The 200-week is coming in at about 22K, and that would match up with mid to low 20s.
Yeah.
Every time you bring these numbers and you measure this stuff out and you try, it always comes back to very similar numbers. It's either mid to low 20s or closer towards that 14K level.
Yeah, that could be consistent too. Everybody's calling for a rally. If we do rally, like you just said, into the next Fed meeting, which I think is in the next 2 weeks or so, June 14th-ish, I believe. And that could be another rate hike that sends us right back down to those low 20s.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then real quick before I hop off, the one thing that would make a lot of sense for the case that we come down and make a lower low first, or even come to make a double bottom right here. Let me grab my brush. So, maybe we see something where we break to the downside out of this. It would make sense. It's a bear pennant. We got the blood diamonds. It would make sense. And we double bottom. But if, before coming back up, but if we wind up coming down and making a lower low, this is what's interesting. If you come down to make a lower low, say maybe you come down like this and then you make a lower low before coming back up, this allows you, if you come over to the daily chart or some of these higher time frames, this would allow your momentum wave to come down and make a higher low, giving you that bullish divergence with your RSI or momentum waves on market Cipher making higher lows, with your price making lower lows, and typically this is where you see price squeeze out. And when it happens on the daily, the moves could be really powerful, which could justify a move all the way up to this $37,000 level, or even closer up to this trend line, closer to 38, 39. So these are kind of the two scenarios I'm looking for. And if you're looking for the best time to buy, keep your eye on that 200-week moving average. If we come down and test that, might be a good time to get in. Not financial advice.
Somebody's talking about false top theory. What about a false bottom theory? Well, I think there are doctors in Miami that do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Dr. Miami himself, I think.
False bottom.
Yeah, definitely.
I like it.
False bottom.
I like
And
it.
also, I think there's some yoga pants that do that too.
Oh,
Y'all know the ones.
oh yeah. Well, guys, I think that's all I got. Back to Ben. Bing bong.
Bing bong.
It's hot in here. It's 70.
Yeah, I think it's
it actually
on.
just cooled down. It was 75.
Yeah, if you open that door back there, that would help. I
Yeah.
think when we have those early meetings, the doors are all closed.
So somebody, there was a chat I wanted to address. Can't remember what it said though. It was up. Can you scroll up a little bit on YouTube? Keep going. A little bit more.
Was it super
It
chat?
was somewhere about right there, I think. Oh, somebody said Gary Gensler just declared BitBoy Crypto a security. Well, that's because you always get an ROI on your time here. Always get an ROI on your time. Okay, it wasn't as important. I couldn't remember what it was, but that was it. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so here we have someone, George Soros, and we are only going to talk about him in the context of this story and what he's done. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories about him. I don't know if they're true or not true. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff. Okay. What we are going to talk about here is what he is saying now about a Ukrainian invasion. And remember this, guys, this is how many of these people make money: humanitarian aid, wars. I got to remember what the other three things are. I can't remember what they are. Maybe I can find that list somewhere. Weapons rolls into the wars as well. Russia's invasion of Ukraine threatens to be the beginning of the Third World War that could spell the end of civilization, or the civilization as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
Veteran philanthropist and former financier George Soros has warned. Did you know that Xi Jinping from China threw Vladimir Putin under the bus over the weekend?
Mm.
Yeah. I saw that somewhere. That's not what this story is saying right here, but it was basically where China is not really backing Russia anymore from what was said. Let's see here. Soros warned the autocratic regimes were in the ascendant and the global economy was headed for a depression. Soros, who's became a hate figure for the hard right in the U.S., which, like I said, we're not talking about that stuff, heavily criticized Angela Merkel for getting friendly with Moscow and Beijing. The 91-year-old former hedge fund owner said the tide had started to turn against open societies in the aftermath of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the U.S. in 2001. Soros said Putin had won Xi's agreement to the Russian invasion at the opening of the Beijing Winter Olympics, but he insisted the Chinese leader was not as strong as he believed. And I mean, to me, guys, at this point, like, how is this the logical conclusion for what we're seeing right now? Now, in the very beginning, the first few weeks of this, I think this kind of rhetoric made sense. But guys, like, Russia's not really winning, right? They're doing a lot of damage, but their military is not overwhelming Ukraine, a country the size of Texas, in which there's a large percentage of people in Ukraine that, actually wouldn't mind being annexed to Russia, at least from what I'm told. I don't know that personally.
Yeah, it seemed
there is a percentage of people there that are, live in Ukraine that are Russian in a certain region. Maybe somebody can correct me if that's wrong, but you're always going to have rebel fighters in there. This is not a war they can really win, and I don't see how this spills into other places.
Yeah, to me, what it feels like's going on, we talked a little bit about Ray Dalio's video yesterday that was about the changing of the world order. And in that, obviously, he's talking about, everybody knows China's been on the rise for the last decade or so, still far from being, able to pass the United States. But China's been rising, United States been falling. So we've got this big trade war going on right now. And it seems like the Soroses and the big monies of the world are prepared and okay with China becoming the superpower, which would change the landscape of the way the world works. Russia and a lot of the Middle Eastern countries don't seem to be so gung-ho about that plan. So they're fighting back. So to me, this feels like, again, a lot of posturing, a lot of trade war, and the fact basically Russia's just mucking things up for the world. You know, a lot of the big money, you know, the World Economic Forum type thoughts of,
well, at some point people aren't going to put up with it anymore.
and that's kind of where we're at. And
Yeah.
what's scary is when deception and disillusion doesn't work anymore. The only thing left is force. So the fact that they're talking about a third world war, I don't know. Like you said, doesn't seem like it's close to necessary, but
Metaspawn Crypto here says U.S. should pounce on Russia right now. Otherwise, Russia will be emboldened and continue invading Europe and become the superpower. Guys, that's not happening.
No.
Guys, Russia has been extremely exposed militarily. And someone trying to say, Ukraine's much bigger than the state of Texas. Here's a beautiful map for you, overlaying Texas over Ukraine. Ukraine is around the same size as Texas, just so for fact-checking purposes there. But guys, this is dragging out. Like, they couldn't fight a war on two fronts right now. Like, they've got a lot of their resources. This may be a made-up number in my head, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that they said 70% of their troops were over. 70%. I think that's the number. Somebody can fact-check that. But they're not winning this in short order. They're certainly not going to. How are they going to move to another country when they are never going to be able to wrap things up in Ukraine? This is going to end up being the end of Putin, I believe. I think first the world turns on Russia, then his own people turn on him when they're feeling the suffering, starting with many of those close to him. A lot of the oligarchs are not happy with what is going on right now over there. So, I can't see this possibly moving. I think this is posturing. In the beginning, there were a lot more unknowns. I did not underestimate Putin's craziness. I estimated it perfectly. I overestimated their military power still. So, and somebody made the comment, if they wanted to defeat him, they could just drop a nuclear bomb or something. Yeah, of course. But that's, what do they call that? It's where basically like, no country will do it because we would all blow each other up.
right. I don't know what it's called,
Right?
but
There's a term for it. They know that would not be good for them to do. That would basically be the end of them. And I believe the people in the military would actually not do it. I don't think they would do it at this point. But anyway, so let's talk. Somebody said something about my beer as well. Haircut scheduled in the morning, guys. Beer trim in the morning.
mutually assured destruction.
Mutually assured destruction, exactly. So what is
the-
this? Gringot's head goblin. Who is this? What is this again, Johnny? Oh gosh. Never. Okay. No, he was around before Harry Potter. Ripple CEO explains why he's at Davos 2022, meeting finance ministers and bank CEOs.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Maria Bartiromo, the anchor of Mornings with Maria on American Fox Business, interviewed CEO Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, who's attending the World Economic Forum. Let's see. She asked his thoughts on the crypto market, yada, yada, yada. I think there's certainly been a lot of excitement, Ripple's focus. She then asked him to comment on upcoming crypto regulation. First, I'll say here in Davos, when I came 4 years ago, crypto was considered a bad word. Today, this is dramatically different. And frankly, our elected officials that are here in Davos are some of the people speaking most aggressively about that. Or is that supposed to say DeVal?
I don't know.
Is there DeVal and Davos? But there's no question that regulation around crypto is still trying to find a solid footing and finding the right posture for the United States. The United States has really been behind other G20 markets like the UK, Switzerland, and Singapore. They've really been leading and establishing a framework that works for both investors as well as entrepreneurs. I think with entrepreneurs, the United States has actually done a good job and doesn't get credit for that. There's not been a stifling of innovation. It's really been from the investor side and from the token side to where they have really left a lot of people holding the bag, or they're the ones holding the bag, really, who are taking advantage of these new technologies. Someone then asked apparently now it's Garland House. Okay. To comment on Tether. He said stablecoins have been in the news. There was one of the catalysts that really drove the market. An algorithmic stablecoin melted down. Tether, and this is what I've been telling you guys this. Tether is considered a dollar-backed stablecoin. He said, I'm not personally involved with it, but it's different. When you have the financials and the transparency and you're backing it with assets and money, that's different than an algorithmic coin that's basically an experiment still at this point. We've yet to see it done perfectly. I don't know if it can be done perfectly, and I don't know if they'll get the opportunity here in the future to do it perfectly. So a lot of stuff going on with regulation. I know I had a very interesting conversation yesterday about us playing a role in some of this regulation stuff. So hopefully we'll get to tell you more about that here in the future. How many things do I tease on this channel?
A lot.
Bipartisan crypto bill to hit Congress within weeks. Senator Lummus, excuse me, and Kristen Gillibrand, or is it Gillibrand? It's Gillibrand. Are out to prove bipartisan digital asset policy is still possible in Washington. And this is a beautiful thing, guys. I know we've talked a lot about how so far all the evidence of, when you look at crypto holdings and you look at, general party feelings towards crypto, the numbers say the right is more for crypto and the left is less for crypto. That's a narrative we do not want. We don't want that. When you look at the numbers, I think what we're seeing now is a lot of people were basically just responding to, I think I'm supposed to think the opposite from this guy because he has this opinion. And they're not actually taking a look at really what crypto is and what it offers. Crypto is the perfect bipartisan issue. And one thing that we saw in California is completely bipartisan blockchain bill over there because they understand it makes sense it's a technology. It's not a policy. Okay. So the idea here that we're going to continue to see more Republican and Democratic leadership come together and formulate these bills. This is what we want. This is what we need. This is what we've been pushing for. It's why people like Elizabeth Warren, people like Brad Sherman, people like, what's this the guy from Ohio, I think. He's got a odd name, a unique name. What is his name?
No idea.
Guy from Ohio, somebody to think of it. He's been vehemently against crypto. The 22, legislators that wrote the environmental letter, it was all FUD. Like those people, if you're on that side of the aisle, you need to hold those people accountable. For Republicans, when Donald Trump was saying bad stuff about Bitcoin, you got to hold him accountable for that. You got to say how asinine that sounds. When you're talking bad about Bitcoin, something that is beneficial to all people. It shouldn't be a political issue. And that's what we want to see go away. We want to see us all work together on this to move this forward to help everybody out. Sherrod Brown, that's him, Sherrod Brown. And if you guys know of any Republican that are vehemently against crypto, drop those in the chat too. We definitely want to see those names. The point is, whatever party you're in, or you vote with the most, or maybe you're completely independent, hold these anti-crypto people accountable. Hold them accountable. Do not vote someone in who is against your best interest from a financial perspective. It's pretty simple. Hold them accountable. So, all right, about the bill, Senator Lummus, Cynthia Lummus of Wyoming, and Kirsten Gillibrand took the stage Tuesday at the DC Blockchain Summit to discuss details of their highly anticipated bipartisan crypto bill, the Responsible Financial Innovation Act, which has been in works for over a year. Our bill does include some of the same provisions as some of the other House and Senate bills, but no other bill endeavors to create a regulatory framework for the whole industry. Is this? Yeah. Trump's the only one that I could really think of. Liz Cheney, I don't know what she says about crypto. But the point here is this an extension of what do they call that bill? The big bill from the Infrastructure Act?
Yeah.
Remember how they were trying to change the language and they were coming up with all these bills and stuff? It says a year. That should about line up. Do you think this is still they're still trying to fix some of that in this bill? Or is this something completely separate?
I think it's separate. Well, where's the name again?
The
what's that
Responsible
second-
Financial Innovation Act, but it's almost like this would be specifically to negate that.
Look,
I
it's
wonder.
that second paragraph right there, the highlights the bill included,
Yeah.
tackles controversial
So it
section.
does that and
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It also grants the Commodity and Futures Trading Commission regulatory authority over much of the space, pulling power from the SEC.
Mhm.
We love that. We love pulling power from the SEC. Regular authority over the space. It clarifies the cryptos are not securities unless they are being offered to fund a company, such as an ICO. It will have at least 4 committees of jurisdiction. To make it a vote on the floor, it will likely need at least 4 hearings, which can be a lengthy process. So, learning a lot more about this stuff these days, how this works behind the scenes. FTX boss promises record $1 billion for Democrats' 2024 U.S. presidential campaign. Sam Bankman-Fried, the number 2 donor. I always heard he was number 1, but then somebody corrected me. I don't know who number 1 is, but he was the number 2 donor to Joe Biden's campaign last year. And look, FTX seems to always stay out of the regulatory conversation these days. And did Sam Bankman-Fried go to the Senate Finance Committee or Banking Committee that with Jeremy Allaire and some of those other folks, the guy was talking about mining, was he included in that?
I want
He
to
was,
say,
right?
I think so.
Yeah,
But
I think it was as well.
yeah, I feel like his name was in there. But
Pay to play around here. Okay, let's see. That's pretty much the whole story. No reason to get into details about that. We talked enough politics today. My God. Avalanche proposes the other side metaverse should build its own subnet. Now, I got some interesting alpha about other side yesterday.
Okay.
They're doing a second land drop here pretty soon, but kind of some of the things they're doing, like you own your IP if you own a Board Ape,
Right.
but you don't own the IP for one of these metaverse lands. And are people clear whether you can build on it or whether they're building it all out and you just get that section of land? Do we know that, Johnny? Yeah. So I think the what was relayed to me is that the word on the street, so to speak, is that this will be ready in a year. 2 years minimum, in my opinion. So I think the further we move into this, the longer you find things taking crypto. I think Sandbox is going to have a 2-year head start on it, an actual playable game. We'll see what happens. Avalanche core team has submitted a proposal idea to the ApeCoin DAO, suggesting the other side metaverse should migrate to the Avalanche blockchain. We propose they launch other side on an Avalanche subnet to support other side's future community growth through rapid transaction processing, higher speeds, yada, yada, yada. There were many different ideas from members of the community. They argued that ApeCoin DAO should remain part of the Ethereum blockchain and focus on achieving scalability with layer 2 solutions rather than move to a separate network. Natural move here is Polygon, right?
Yeah, if they stayed on Ethereum, for sure. When they were first looking at it, I think what was proposed was Avalanche or Flow, I believe, were the 2 they were looking at. I remember saying when we covered it, if they choose Avalanche over Flow, it says a lot to me about, they want it to be open, and that's a priority for them, decentralization. So actually, I don't mind the Avalanche choice.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
You think they just stay with Ethereum, most likely, with a better roll up?
You got to stay with the one you came with.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I think that's ultimately what they'll do. There will be too much, and what's the big Avalanche NFT marketplace? Can you name it offhand?
No.
Exactly.
I don't-
So people deep in the community can. Average person that's at a distance invested, but maybe at a distance.
But I
couldn't
don't
tell
think
you.
that really matters. They've got their community, and they're just trying to give them a good experience. The community, I don't think, they're not trying to grow the community by moving to Avalanche. They're just trying to facilitate what they're trying to do better. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, code is not law.
Oh.
Now, this comes from famous blockchain developer and coder, Seth Green. You may also know him as one of the characters on Robot Chicken. Seth Green says code is not law. Now, to understand what code is law means, you have to go back to the Ethereum split when Ethereum had a DAO, it got hacked. I think it was $150 million. Vitalik proposed to the community that they roll back the transactions from the scammers, from the hackers, and they get the money back, or maybe community members, but Vitalik supported it. They ended up winning, and they rolled back the transactions. And the new chain is actually what we have today is Ethereum. The original chain was called Ethereum Classic. Now, who led the Ethereum Classic movement? That code is law, the famous quote from him at that time. I don't know if he's the originator of it, but in crypto, he is the person seen for that quote. He basically said, hey, it's our fault. We built the code. The code is the law. Someone hacked it and exploited it. That's blockchain. That's responsibility. And that's kind of what ended up spurring him off to eventually leave and do Cardano, do his own project. So now Seth Green, an actor, is telling us code is not law.
Charles Hoskinson, by the way, if you didn't pick that up.
Oh, I didn't say Charles Hoskinson.
No.
Yeah. Charles Hoskinson. Sorry. Seth Green, actor, says, and I'm not trying to diminish him as a person. I'm using that tongue in cheek, of course. His Bored Apes got stolen, but he's saying he still owns the rights, even though a hacker or a fisher has his actual NFTs. How could you ever actually prove that? Like, sure, what are the hackers going to do? Come after him? They're going to sue him for using the IP for his Bored Apes?
I don't know.
But he doesn't own it. You know, he doesn't own them anymore. That's ownership. Austin Powers supporting actor Seth Green. I love that's what they go with, you know. Was there not a cooler movie in the year 2000, and then as an adult you look back and say that was the lamest movie ever? Austin Powers is that movie. Sparked debate over who owns the commercial rights to use Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT after his apes were stolen. Green, the creator of Robot Chicken, co-star on Family Guy, could have said Chris from Family Guy, noted that someone with the pseudonym Darkwing84 had already bought the NFT. Now, legal experts and community members are weighing in about the implications of theft on Bored Ape Yacht Club intellectual property rights. Here's where he talked about it, where they got stolen. We covered that story last week. I think maybe on Around the Blockchain. Not sure we did in the day show. But the license does not stipulate instances of theft. So this is quite interesting. I think this is a very interesting argument here. Niraj here on Twitter said, he's hardly an IP expert, but my understandings of the ape system is yes, this is within the new holder's rights. Like, yeah, that's the way that it's written. Doesn't specifically say it, but it's implied because that's obvious. The owner, the person that owns it, should have the rights. Jake Chervinsky said his interpretation is incorrect. A court would likely rule in favor of Green retaining the legal rights to the Bored Ape Yacht Club's image. But who's going to take this to court?
Right.
Nobody's going to take this to court. Everybody understands what happened here. So he can feel free to use it if he wants. The owner's not going to take him to court because he's got a stolen NFT. Now, is it the hacker, or the hacker sold it to somebody else and now somebody else has it?
I think that's what they're saying.
That's an interesting chain.
Yeah.
That's an interesting chain, because if you buy a stolen stereo, do people buy stereos anymore? If you buy a stolen stereo off Craigslist and the police find it at your house, you're the owner of it. You're responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? And they take it from you and you're in trouble for it. So you would think that new person, even though he bought it legally, but you're just talking about so much money. Like, that's where it gets even more complicated.
Yep.
Very interesting. NFT owners reminded to be vigilant after 29 moonbirds were stolen by clicking a bad link. Don't ever click links, guys. Always make sure you're going directly to websites. Be careful with Google as well. They allow scam Google AdWords. Had a young lady reached out to me on LinkedIn the other day, explaining that she lost $1,500 or $1,600, I think, to someone she thought was me. It was an impersonator. Or actually, no, she thought it was Frankie Candles. It was a Frankie Candles impersonator. And, you know, I try to encourage her and just say, you'll make the money back. I lost $2,300 in a phishing attack 2018. I learned the lesson. You got to learn the lesson, and you got to make sure it doesn't ever happen to you again in the future. But just remember, we will never ask for money from you. We do not invest for people. We don't do anything with Bitcoin mining. Like, we don't have a mining operation. We don't have any platform where you get return on investment. You know, we do have Pluto Alliance staking with your Pluto Alliance NFTs to earn the YouTube money. That we do have that, of course. But we're never going to contact you on social media. Remember that. Be very wary of impersonators. I always have people in my family sending me messages, like, not necessarily like my immediate family, but, brother-in-laws or whatever. And they're saying, is this you? So some people are still new to the idea that I've got a bunch of impersonators, and sometimes they even trick my family. So, all right. Blockstream dreams up a whole new type of multi-sig called Roast. It's been posited as a signature standard that could work with and improve threshold signature schemes such as Frost. Do you even know what any of that means?
I wasn't. Signature scheme. Read it again.
I want to know, explain the sentence to me, TJ. In particular, Roast has been posited as a signature standard that could work with and improve threshold signature schemes such as Frost.
Well, I don't know what Frost is, so that makes it tough. But I know basically what they're saying is, we have ring signatures, we've got multi-sig. They're trying to create another signature standard that's probably easier to use. But I don't know what Roast is or Frost, so we'll have to see.
Well, Roast is new. Robust asynchronous Schnoor threshold signature. Oh, they're Schnoors.
Yeah.
How boring. Schnoor.
I might have to get BJ to finish this up. I got to run in just a few minutes.
Why do you have to run?
I have to be somewhere that's it's about 40 minutes away at 1:15.
Yeah. Okay. Researchers highlighted that while Frost can be an effective method for signing off on Bitcoin transactions, structure of coordinators and signers is designed to abort transactions in the presence of absent signers. So basically what they're saying here, they're trying to figure out if they can work these into bank transactions, which is pretty interesting, actually. Something to watch. Right now, kind of it seems what they're saying is it's still very complicated. Stripe to offer Bitcoin payments through open node partnership. Payments platform Stripe announced it will offer a Bitcoin option to its users a month after announcing crypto integration with Twitter. Partnered with payment processor OpenNode. I used to have a node from them. I stopped running it because I think I lost the cord. But OpenNode to allow its users to instantly convert fiat payments to Bitcoin. The integration promises low-cost instant settlements through Lightning Network. I found out Jack Mallers is 27 or 29. I always thought he looks like he's 21. He actually kind of looks like he's like 18, to be honest with you. He's like one of the youngest looking people in crypto. What is his secret? Maybe he keeps his beard trimmed. In early 2018, the company suspended Bitcoin as a payment option, citing volatility, yada, yada, yada. So the important part here, guys, is you're continuing to see movement on the back ends. You're hearing from institutions, don't buy Bitcoin. It's horrible, yada, yada, yada. It's terrible, terrible. But what are they doing? Don't do what they say, follow what they do, and they're still working on the back end on institutional solutions for a lot of traditional, investment vehicles, and the way people hold money, like accounts and stuff like that. They're creating new kinds of accounts in banks for crypto. You've got all this stuff on the back end that's really coming through. Stripe working on this stuff. We've got the announcement with Strike. What's the name of the company? The POS system, the POS terminal. Can't remember the name of it. It's the biggest in the country.
It's not Flexa. What is it again?
No, it's not Flexa. That's AMP, right?
Yeah.
It's can't remember what
Swift. Not Swift.
No, it's basically most cash registers work on this system. But anyways,
NEC.
NEC, that's it. Open Ethereum support ends with the merge fast approaching. The usefulness has run its course, the Open Ethereum team wrote regarding its popular software. One of the most popular Ethereum clients, Open Ethereum, has ended support for its software in preparation for the upcoming Ethereum merge. This is so sad. It created clients or software to interact with Ethereum network. I think there's only a few of these that are out there that do these services, and this was a decent one, and they're not going to follow it with the merge. So, the only way Ethereum fails, in my opinion, is if the merge is a total disaster and it's not fixable, and we find a lot of these issues on Ethereum are more structural than we thought they were, and proof of stake won't even help it. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it is going to solve it, but we do have some people that are just saying it's too complicated to move on to the next stage with Ethereum, and will some other projects do the same? I don't think we'll see a lot, but we will see some of that. And if Ethereum fails, by the way, it NCR, that's what it is. NEC. It's not an NEC. It's
Well, do you
NCR.
think? So I've had this debate whether or not they can actually switch to proof of stake, and the main reason I ask that is if it's so decentralized. Oh God, that's too big. If it's decentralized now because of the amount of Ethereum miners. But when you switch to proof of stake, with what you have to put in to actually get the machine, isn't that going to heavily centralize the overall system?
Well, I think there is certainly an argument to that, but I think if you were to go down that train of thought, I think you also have to bring up the fact that just the amount of money held in the top 20 Ethereum addresses is just as centralized and could actually be more detrimental than even validator nodes being centralized in that way.
Yep.
So, and you could make that argument for a lot of projects out there. Also, one that you can't, Cardano. I know you love Cardano. It is way more decentralized than most stuff out there when it comes to the amount of holders and the top addresses and the amount that's staked on the network. It really does have a more decentralized feel to it. I still believe Ethereum is going to be fine in that regard, but we always do talk about, if they were going, they being the traditional TradFi, if they were to want to break something from the inside out, they have to be on the inside first. And we see a lot of this stuff going on with Consensus and JP Morgan. I think soon I'm going to be on, the Earn Your Leisure channel. I got to follow up with the guy via DM where they were talking about this. I do have a great rebuttal for that argument, though. So I guess go subscribe to that channel. And when I finally get on that show, you can hear that argument. I think there's a much stronger argument that they've got too much money invested in it already behind the scenes to allow Ethereum to fail, to be centralized, to allow certain changes on the network that they want. I'm not sure how the voting works with all the validator nodes on ETH 2.0. That is something to watch because, a lot of people say Bitcoin is centralized, that a lot of the votes are pushed from Blockstream, who has a lot of command over a lot of the nodes. At least there's a lot of people that work at Blockstream that are, big in that community. So every project gets those kinds of criticisms because centralization is a continuum, starting with centralization and ending with decentralization. Everything is in the middle somewhere. Nothing is truly decentralized. Nothing is 100% centralized. It always falls in the middle. So I think this will push Ethereum when we get rid of the miners. I tend to believe it will push it in a more decentralized direction than less. But you, being a Cardano maximalist, you obviously would feel the opposite way.
Probably the quick answer on this, or quick question. Now, you saw Vitalik, a week ago, kind of have that open narrative online about him kind of questioning ETH and his life and having an existentialistic crisis.
Yeah.
Do you think, and I had this discussion with Seth a while ago, Mind Your Biz, that you have proof of work, you have proof of stake, but they have their pros and their cons. Would you ever see a potential hybrid system with ETH and Cardano? ETH being the proof of work, Cardano being the proof of stake. It's weird. It's out there.
No.
No?
I tend to believe that I'm not calling Charles a liar. I just don't think they're on good terms at all. I don't think Vitalik and Charles are on good terms. I think, of course, they would be in public. I think the split was nasty, and I think that they would never do that.
Now, is that because Vitalik plays Horde and Charles plays Alliance? Is that kind of the ultimate
Don't
problem?
even know what that means, BJ.
It's okay. You play WoW. I know it.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that. But I do believe that when people talk about the scenario of all of these projects dying in the bear market, I've said for a long time, since 2018, I've said, I think we will see a lot of projects rolling into other projects. We did see, I think it was Ambrosis, maybe it was, got absorbed by VeChain at some point or something similar. We've seen platforms We've seen some coins, we've seen some DeFi platforms get absorbed into larger projects. So I think we will see merging of projects on some level, but I don't think it will be Cardano and Ethereum. I don't think we would see that. Ethereum pulls off something unexpected amid 1.9 billion losses. As these started showing signs of decline towards the end of April, Ethereum holders began selling their holdings. Bearishness did bring a shift in wins for good, as for the first time in a month, Ethereum has gained the interest of institutional investors. And this is how you know that even though we may not be at the very, very, very bottom of the market yet, this is a good price point to begin scaling in, because institutional investors are now beginning to scale in. Whereas with most assets, especially on the traditional market, the institutional investors have totally backed off and their investing has plummeted completely to a standstill. They're not expecting that to break away. Seems like they're expecting something for Ethereum to break a little bit faster to the upside. So something to keep in mind there. Brazil's largest crypto exchange partners with Stellar to work on a CBDC. Let's see. Mercado Bitcoin, largest crypto and digital asset platform in Latin America, announced its partnership with the Stellar Development Foundation to participate in the development of Brazil's CBDC. Remember, the IMF, well, no, that was Argentina, where the IMF basically held loans over their head and said, you will not, use Bitcoin as legal tender. So here we have Brazil, I get the largest country in South America, Argentina being the second, is now working on its own CBDC with, and it makes total sense, with Stellar. We told you for a long time, Stellar, I don't see a point in investing in Stellar, honestly. Stellar is basically a test net for Ripple. I do believe that. I think we're going to see a lot of CBDCs first roll out via Stellar. It's a test before later rolling out the actual product, which will be, wholesale CBDCs that will be on Ripple on the XRPL. Oh, well, I don't know technically on XRPL, but on RippleNet. So there you go. In Brazil, you can now use ADA XRP and Matic to pay for real estate purchases. So if you're looking to buy a spot in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, you can do that.
Ooh.
Yeah, you would like to do that. Now let's talk about XRP real quick. Jeremy Hogan says Ripple lawsuit reaching endgame. Here's why. Very interesting. Make sure, by the way, throw up the X if you're in the XRP community. We love the XRP community here, the XRP army. Very close to giving you guys more on what we got going with the NFTs here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Crypto legal expert Jeremy Hogan thinks the Ripple versus US SEC case is finally entering its endgame. He responded to news that attorney and XRP supporter John Deaton recently filed the letter requesting the 67K holders be represented of XRP. This is kind of the anti-SEC lawsuit case. Also, by the way, I think we're going to have Eleanor Trinette, I think that's her last name, from Fox Business on to talk XRP SEC case, hopefully sometime next week. So be on the lookout for that. Still trying to solidify a day, I think maybe Thursday, but it's not 100% yet. The move is a direct response to the SEC wanting to bring in an expert to testify on what XRP holders bought or thought when they purchased the sixth largest crypto asset. The argument here is they brought in an expert that never spoke to a single XRP investor that they said they were representing. How insane is that? And what about the plaintiff's expert? Patrick B. Duty? Is that a real name? Patrick B. Duty. We love people with the last name Duty here on the channel. Hogan notes expert witness gave testimony about XRP holders, but his only concern right now about the case ending is the timing, because there's no motions to left to strike the witness. So anyways, entering the final stages here, the SEC wants to prevent XRP holders from assisting court. So the SEC is trying to stop them from being represented by John Deaton. The SEC has informed the courts that it plans to file an objection. No, we don't want to hear from the people we're protecting. We don't want to hear from them. freaking idiots, freaking dummies. They don't know what they're doing. Why would we want to hear from people that actually invested in this and get their thoughts on why or why not they decided to invest in XRP?
Pertinent information's overrated, Ben.
That Gary Gensler, Skeletor, Dirty Gary, this guy, and what they're doing at the SEC, so corrupt, so despicable. The SEC is the epitome of what the Great Reset wants. It is the epitome of it. You are too stupid to make decisions on your own. And when left to make decisions, you're always going to make the wrong ones. And you don't have the information that you need to make these decisions. Only we, the gatekeepers of finance, get to tell you what you may or may not have scrap investments in. It's sad. That stuff gets me fired up.
Do you remember, this was a few months ago, but I do not remember the politician that asked Gary Gensler. He was like, do you feel like you're their daddy? And he was like, what do you mean? He's like,
Yeah.
why are you acting like one?
That was great.
It was great.
Well, I'll just tell you guys this. I've talked for a long time about getting actually in front of legislators on the national level at a televised open hearing to talk crypto. I've said for a long time I envision myself up there one day, pushing crypto forward and trying to hold some of these people accountable. Interesting call yesterday. That might actually come to fruition. Not in a very quick timeline, but we are working on some stuff where that could be a possibility. So, should I have a buy Bitcoin sign if I go?
2 signs.
Oh. Do I wear my XRP jersey?
Is it leather or denim?
What?
That's relevant.
It's this. It's the same
Oh.
material as this.
Fine.
It's downstairs. We have like 100 of them. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I of course have to wear the same suit I wore to Sacramento. It's got an orange tie. WEF 2022. Here's some quick hits. Satoshi could be a woman. Some people say God is a woman. People say anyone is any gender when you don't know their identity, because that probably is true. I would argue probably one or the other, or who knows? People don't feel like they're in a box these days. The 4th day of the ongoing World Economic Forum saw a major discussion around the role of women in Web3 and how the decentralized ecosystems is the place for inclusiveness. I agree. We support women in crypto. We love women in crypto. I've talked to so many ladies that watch this channel, and we absolutely love that they feel comfortable coming to this channel and getting information here, because we push that message. Like, crypto should be 50-50. Like, why would it not be? Actually, women control more of the finances of the United States than men do. So we should actually have a higher percentage, not a lower percentage. So we want to create that friendly environment. But, also at the same time, out of all of the candidates that we have that are likely for Satoshi, maybe it's by design, they're all men that I know of. So if someone knows of a potential woman, candidate, put her up here. I'd love to know. Is Naomi Brockwell
Satoshi?
possibly?
Yes.
Satoshi?
Yep.
Or she's the Bitcoin girl, I think. So anyways, I think I know who Satoshi is. So I think it's Hal Finney,
It
mainly.
is Hal Finney. I checked.
I believe that almost unequivocally, like 99% sure. But there are other people, Craig Wright, Julian Assange, who were certainly involved in the earlier beginning stages, who knew a lot more than they've let us know, involved in the cypherpunks, but, it is what it is. Let's do Q&A.
Cool. So a couple people popped in here. Grant asks, what is the difference between WETH and ETH, and which is the best to use on OpenSea? I can answer the second part. Don't use OpenSea, but I'll let you take the first part.
Yeah, thank you so much. Antlin Online, you've not been reading the comments that I get. Luckily, I can fend for myself. I saw one thing you said that people were being mean to you, or that people were moderating your chats, but then I didn't see what the chats were, so I'm sorry. I've seen your name over there a few times, though. The difference between WETH and ETH, the difference between any ticker that starts with a different letter that's lowercase most times, like You can also have, I guess, wrapped die you can have, right? Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, right? These are wrapped versions. What these are, they're representations of the coins put on a new blockchain. So if you want to use Bitcoin to trade on the Ethereum blockchain, you can't do that. You can't literally use the blockchain to trade Bitcoin for Ethereum on Uniswap. You have to use a synthetic version of the asset that is coded as an ERC20, but is basically a synthetic version, just like we talk about synthetic stocks. Same thing. It's a representation of the real thing to make trading faster and make DeFi easier and make these chains a little more operable. But it's not the only one. I mean, you have, BUSD, right? That's the same thing on the Binance chain the Binance dollar is what that is. What's that? What? Amsand? I have no idea what that is. Johnny, you're way more advanced than I am in crypto. Maybe you should be running the show. But you have other ones. There's like a RUSD as well. There's other chains that have those same representations. Basically, a lowercase followed by the regular ticker means a synthetic asset. Go ahead.
Now the question is, will wrapped assets go away once there's truly interoperability? That kind of feels like the
the end goal
Yeah.
should be yes, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the end goal. We're a long ways away from that.
I would agree. Unless, well, I don't want to show.
M sand. That's what you're saying. Literally the letter M and then sand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then did you do a interview with Charles Payne?
Yeah. Last week.
Oh, that's cool. Is it on YouTube so people can watch it? And where?
Yeah. If you want to watch that, you can go check out our vlog. Where is it? You go here to BitBoy Crypto on YouTube, click videos, and scroll down. And here's our exclusive interview on Fox Business. And you also get to see me hit dingers or deep pop-ups, one or the other. So we did make the number 4 overall team in the tournament for our men's adult softball league out of 13 teams. Top 3 got buys, so have buys, so we get to play the worst team remaining. So we're going to beat the brakes off of them and, make it around 2. So that's next Wednesday we'll be playing. So excited about that. That was the whole interview. They actually, Fox Business or CNN, they don't take every single one. You can pull the screen down. They don't take every single one of their interviews and put it online. So if you miss it on the channel, like if you miss Tucker Carlson, the whole show, or, what's the guy with white hair on Anderson Cooper, if you miss it, he still does the show, I don't even know, then you just missed that segment. You can't go watch every single one. That's what Fox Business does. And the last time I was on the show, my segment made it to their socials. This time it didn't. Very unfortunate. Charles Payne drives a Ram TRX like me. So best truck out there. All right, guys, that is all we got for today. How do we stake our aliens? Let me pull that site up real quick. I'll answer that last question. It is staking.plutoalliance.com. Staking.plutoalliance.com. If you don't know how to do it, you can maybe hit up Justin NFT Alpha on Twitter and they can walk you through it. I did want to get that in as we are getting towards the end of the month. All right, guys, that's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.